podcast. I'm your host, Mudassir Raza, and today we have a very amazing guest from Helsinki, Miss Sabine Werner. Hello, ma'am.
Hi there.
Uh,
Hello.
Thank you so much for your time. Although it's a two hour difference from within Pakistan to Finland, but I'm glad that you spent some time with us.
I thanks for the invitation. I'm very excited to be here on the show and present my hard topic.
Yes, I have seen your website as well. Such an amazing website, which is completely whoever is needs looking for a coaching, whoever is looking for a coach, so it's completely brief out. You start your journey from Germany, then Finland. I need to know first about this migration, immigration, or transformation. What is it?
Well, the reason why I did leave Germany, there was simply nothing which keep holding me back in Germany. And I have been in Finland already 27 times before I decided to move up here. And it felt a little bit more like home to me than Germany. And yeah, here I am. I found a job here and I settled down here. And I do not want to return, honestly speaking.
Great.
How did I end up in coaching? Well,
Yeah.
I did a further education already. I was studying business coaching during my time in Germany. And it was the first time where I had this wow feeling. It was the first time where my why was answered, because during all my professional lives, during all my different jobs I had, after 2 to 3 years, I always came to the same point. That means after 2 or 3 years, the demotivation started, and in the end, I simply quit. And here in Finland, of course, I started with a job as well. And then the same thing here happened again. So I got demotivated. I had an overload of work, and I decided, okay, now I will settle up my own business. And this is how I came up with the topic of communication, because it took me over 23 years to figure out what is the reason why I come always to this point, to the demotivation and unproductivity. And it sounds pretty simple, but for me, it is communication. And I'm pretty sure there are many of you outside there who might have had the same experience and the same problems.
Absolutely, you're right. And we have been observed as well is the demotivation. And number of times when we are doing a work and after a certain period of time, we realizing that okay, we do not have any kind of spark to do that particular work or particular task. And again, we finding a solution to switch a job, to find somewhere to do a job somewhere in someone else organizations. So if we just understand the very basic understanding of the demotivation, so what do you suggest how to deal we can with the demotivation?
I would say we first of all need to ask ourselves when and where starts the demotivation. Is it the job? Is it the boss? Is it the team? What exactly
Yeah.
is it? And as people are pretty lazy, we love to blame others. We love to
Yes.
blame the job, the stupid company, and so on, instead of asking ourselves, okay, is it the tasks I'm doing? Is it the behavior of my boss? And as soon as you have figured this out, talk about it, and simply don't stay silent. Instead, what I have been doing all the times is, well, I tried to talk about it, but I had the feeling I did not get heard about it. So that was something no one wants to hear. Of course, it's a matter of how you communicate, but the main issue here is really identify the word demotivation. So where is it coming? And if you know, for example, it's the tasks, it's the job itself, find a solution for that. Talk to your boss, think changing maybe the departments. I mean, there are solutions.
Yes.
And yeah, that's improving communication means to have the guts to talk about it. And as I said, to say I hate my job or I'm frustrated, it's the easy way, but really to dive a little bit deeper and to figure out, to identify ourselves with, it has a lot to do with self-worth, is, yeah, maybe not the easiest way, but it will help for your own development.
Exactly, and here's one more point. Okay, at the beginning, when we done the graduation, so we are looking for a job. So whatever the job we get, so we do not want to be loose. So what happened that okay, when you are getting the work at office, so instead of can you communicate, you discuss that task. Uh, Against that, you are going to be put yourself in different phase. You just accept it and then start gossiping about it or keep worrying about it. So here's the problem, okay, you are not going to be discussed with the right person.
Exactly. Especially you just said it on the point, this gossiping, we are very good about that.
Yeah.
But it depends, of course, much on the leadership. And here, that's what the my target group are, the leaders, because especially when you have this middle management position, it is about leading a team. Unfortunately, usually team leaders, they are so busy with their tasks, so they are spending 80% of their time fixing issues, doing the whole bureaucracy as well. So they are working more or less the same things on the same tasks their team is working. So they do not develop. They do not have the time to listen to people. They do not see when something is going not in the right way. And team members, it's a matter of trust. Sometimes they do not feel welcomed to present their problems, because then you easily get a stamp on your forehead where it said, okay, you are complaining all the time. I mean, communication is not a one-way street. It's the responsibility of all of us to communicate when something is not going in the right way. But we feel ashamed when we say, hey, I do not feel well with that. We always tend to think, okay, what might other people think of me when I'm saying now this?
Yeah.
And when it comes to communication, what I experienced, the main issue here is we do not listen.
Yes. Everyone wants to speak, but no one wants to be listened.
Exactly. We only hear, or sometimes we just hear what we want to hear, but really have
which is
to
in our
focus
favor.
on, exactly, really focusing on a person and trying to feel what the other person is feeling. Seldom I made this experience, very seldom, because we are all in a rush, we are all in a hurry, we do not have the time, and the problems are getting bigger and bigger.
So when you're dealing with these kinds of the problem and you're doing coaching with different levels of leadership, mid-level, senior level, so how much is it difficult or easy for you to explain the importance of communication to the managers? Because being an employee or being a junior person, so we expect them the mistakes from them, but the person who is responsible to manage the team, so I guess they are more responsible to communicate effectively.
Well, usually no manager is from the beginning so honest to say, I'm not good communicating. So when I ask the middle management, okay, how good is your team running? I always get the answer, yeah, it's running pretty well. So my question is then, okay, what do you do for that they are running pretty well? How do you measure this? And then I get silence. I do not get any answer on this. So from my point of view, the topic of communication needs a bit awareness. And now at this time, people are not aware enough of this. So the pain is not high enough to say, okay, I will invest now a little bit of money in my self-development. Because in the end, when the team is running good, the higher boss will be so the CEO will be very happy, as well as the team will be happy, and the middle management will be happy. Everyone would be happy. And it's about saving money, because companies waste a lot of money due to poor communication. But to convince them, I mean, I can no one convince who does not see that there is a gap. And that's not my job. I do not want to say that you are a bad person or that your communication style is poor. I mean, this you have to check on yourself.
Yes. I said there's one more point. While we are saying about the communication, there's importance of ideas, and ideas comes in the different. Let me rephrase it. There's a team and they have different ideas, and but if they did not know how to communicate or how to be speak up those ideas, explain those ideas, so the manager or team or a whole organization will suffer. Because I have a good idea, but I don't know how to speak, how to communicate to the management, to the team leader. So ultimately, at the end, the business will suffer.
My magic formula is simply say what you feel, what you want to express, and don't think too much over it. We always try to find the right words. And, the fact is that it is only a small part when it comes when we look at the whole picture of communication. It is only a small part on the words. There is much more on the non-verbal expression, on your gesture, on your mimic, on the time, the place. And for me, the easiest way I would suggest to everyone is simply express what you feel, what is going on in you. And you do not need to feel offended, attacked, afraid, or whatever. And when it comes to a team meeting, for example, and you have no idea how to express this, and you do not feel well in this, that's when it comes to the place and time, then simply find a solution. For example, take a walk with your boss outside the office, talk with him or her about it, say, hey, I have problems to explain that. And latest then the leader should say, okay, well, we can offer you, for example, a training on that or coaching session, whatever it might be. It depends. It is an issue of trust. If you can trust your boss, then you will automatically go to him and say, okay, I have a problem here with presenting the idea. Or, for example, talking in a group. For me, it is always a nightmare, or it was always a nightmare, to talk in front of 10 people. But what have I done? I simply said at the beginning, for example, when I'm doing a webinar, I say, hey, I'm pretty nervous. And within the next few minutes, you will see that I get a red face. And as soon as I said it, it started, but I did not feel that uncomfortable because I warned everyone and no one was irritated.
Yes. There's one more problem which I haven't observed. The experienced employees, those who are working from the last 5 to 8 years or 10 years, they're also reluctant to share their ideas. And the reason behind that, previously when they shared their ideas, the culture was not welcoming. Whenever they shared their ideas, they will not get such a positive response. So now they decided it's useless to speak. Whatever is happening is just go with the flow. So how can we change that culture?
This is a very good question, because communication is just a small part of the whole company culture. And it's hard to say. I mean, there is no general rule you can find on that. And if someone is not feeling welcome because of their culture or their country they are coming from my point of view, the best would be then simply leave the company. Because when the company is saying, hey, we have done this all the time and you can go whenever you want to go, it's not that we need you, you cannot change the culture with that.
Yeah.
I mean, the change needs to happen from a bigger level, I would say, at least from the middle management. But when you are a small team member, even if you have been in the company for 5 or 10 or 15 years, you are still, it comes to the level of power, which from my side, I think it's totally bullshit, to be honest, having this different power levels. But there are such companies, and you will never feel welcome there. And you can try to change it. You can try, okay, hey, I'm a good employee. I have been working so long. I'm very loyal. In the end, it will not work. And then you simply have to say to yourself, okay, it will not work, before you're wasting time and energy and it goes to your health. Then it's better to quit and find a new job.
Yeah, when you become the part of any organization and you do not know how to communicate. But if we move back and we discuss that the previous slide, when you're getting an education. So at your education level, how can we improve or inculcate the communication skills so you're able to communicate in a better way?
Wow, that's a good question. Honestly speaking, out of my head, I'm honest, I do not have a solution for that. It depends a little bit. Do you really want to improve yourself? And I think the example you brought it's pretty good, because when I think back of leadership and the question a leader should always ask himself, what is my goal being a leader? And if it's just money and power, you as a team member could know, okay, the leadership style might not fit to me. If it is development, then good. But when you are in this position and you see, okay, I have a problem with communication, and I do the step back, I would suggest, I mean, there are trainings, there are coachings, there are workshops, there is really a wide range of where you can learn to communicate. And the best would be to practice it a little bit, practice it with your friends or in a safe space where you have the trust already and where you feel welcomed. And once again, talk to your boss then. I mean, as a leader, you have a boss as well. And just be honest. For me, the magic word is always honesty, because we are all vulnerable. We are all not perfect. And we do not feel ashamed if we do not understand everything at once, or if we are not fit in communication. But the issue is we all think we are fit because we are communicating every day.
Yes.
But we have never learned it. I mean, of course, when you have studied it, yes, you have learned a part of it, then you have it in the theory, but how is it in the practical world then?
Yeah.
It sounds easy, and it is easy if you just spend the time to develop it.
Acha, Sabine, there's one more interesting element. We classified the person, either it's an introvert or extrovert. And number of times we have seen that introverts are not so much expressive. So how can the managers play their part to make sure that the introverts also play or communicate within the team?
I would simply say take a survey. Be close to your team and take a survey. But then the question is, how much trust does the team have to you?
Yeah.
So I suggest, before now it comes a little bit to the organizations as well. When you're establishing this middle management, the question is, okay, what is, and this I have seen many, many times, why is someone promoted to a leader? And usually in 80% of the cases, it's the hard skills. It's never the soft skills. But as a leader, you need to have soft skills to develop the team. And when those skills are missing, the team might have had less trust in you. So you will always have the feeling, yeah, my team is motivated and I'm communicating very good. But I have made a so-called culture temperature, where you can easily, it sounds a little bit funny, but where you can measure it by asking questions. How is the culture really? How is the communication? And maybe it would make sense even to do this by an outstanding partner, because when the leader would ask it, I'm not sure how honest the people might be. And then, of course, there needs to be a reaction, not only, okay, I have this now on paper, but I will change nothing.
Exactly. Sabine, I've notice one more thing about the feedback. Whenever we communicate with someone, so there's a term we use, the positive feedback. So how can the person be welcome to listen the feedback, or can they work on it? Because most of the time, no one wants to be listen feedback. Everyone believes that, okay, I'm perfect. Whatever I'm saying, that's right. So how much is it difficult to give a feedback? Okay, this is something which you need to be work on it.
Totally. And in this culture in Finland, people are really, and I think not only in Finland, people are really afraid of feedback.
Yeah.
Though I think it is a necessary tool for the development. We need to have it. And there are only two groups who should provide feedback without being asked. The first one is the parents, and the second is the middle management. All other people, please never give feedback without being asked, especially when it comes to friendship. It can destroy friendships.
Everybody is ready to give a free advice.
Exactly, but it depends a little bit on the advice.
Even they are suffering their own lives, but they are ready to give the advice to the other person.
Yes, absolutely agree here. Well, feedback is often given too rarely. Usually it is once a year when you have this employee retention, this annual meeting, and it is often more given, and now to come back to the advice, more in the way of an advice than a real help. Feedback should help you. Feedback should promote you to develop. we shy, from my point of view, we often shy away because feedback sometimes is criticism, not more, not less. It's an advice combined with criticism. So who wants to have this? Usually no one.
Yeah.
Feedback can also be
True.
positive. If you have done something good working on a task, then why not saying to your employee, hey, you did a great job. That's it. It costs nothing, absolutely nothing. But instead of, we are living in a culture where it's more or less like, as long as I do not do not bother you or do not argue with you or about your behavior, then you got a positive feedback. So it is a silent feedback from my point of view, because we all like to get this positive feedback or this positive words from someone. We feel better then. So for example, when a boss is saying to you, the mistake you made 2 weeks ago was shit, how much do you think you will develop with that? Absolutely zero.
Yeah.
Instead of saying something like that, maybe you could say, hey, there was this mistake, it happened. How could we prevent next time? Or where was the gap? What did you have an overload? Or it would be great that next time when you feel, okay, something is not going wrong, come to me and we talk about that. We're figuring this out. And this is more presenting already a solution and asking, really feel what's going on in the employee. And you will take this definitely differently, and you would develop with that. So I advise everyone, take a training on feedback. It's a minimum, it's easy to learn, but you can really establish a wonderful feedback culture in the company. And this is development. Without feedback, where would we be, honestly speaking? It's like all those, the reviews on Amazon you are giving. I mean, this is what we do every day, or maybe not every day, but something like that. But why do we not do this when it comes to, as said, parents can or should do this, otherwise their children cannot develop. I mean, if the children is putting the fingers on the hot plate,
Definitely.
Parents will say, hey, don't do this, you will get burned.
Yeah. But yes,
it should be easy, but we are afraid because I think we made all bad experience when it comes to feedback. We took it more as criticism, as feeling personally attacked, and it is a matter of learning how you give, and the best, of course, is constructive feedback.
Rather than to work on that feedback, we start trying to work on that, how to give response to that particular person. So when I get to know about my weakness, so I'm not much concerned about it. How can I work on that? I'm much concerned about it. How can I respond to that particular person who bothered me to give me the feedback? So the one problem is that I'm not good in communication. Then when I move on to, I realize that I'm not good to listen my feedback. And then what happened that I become stressed, or I'm in stress. So how can you deal with that dilemma or the problem when the person is in stress?
You mean stress about communication?
Yeah.
Well, you can prevent stress generally in the work life when it comes to the topic of communication by talking. It sounds a little bit strange, I know, but I do not see any other solution for that. When you get stressed, then communication is not a one-way street. When you have the feeling, okay, I do not communicate well, go to your boss, go to your colleagues, wherever you can or whoever you can trust. And maybe this is the thing we have the problem. We do not know what to say. We do not want to show our emotions. And when it comes to communication, sometimes it is really helpful to show the emotions. It depends a little bit on the topic, so I would not generally suggest show emotions. But only by that you can reduce the stress limit a little bit.
The last point is enjoyment at work, which you have been mentioned that. How can we create that environment where you can enjoy your work? where everyone is rushed to back to the home after at 5, and
when I look on the teams itself, and when I put my shoes few years, or when I put myself earlier in the years into my team, we have different characters, and it's a little bit like someone in the kindergarten when you have the adult who is taking care of the kids. It's the same in the team. To reduce the stress when it comes to the leadership, because I can, as a team member, I try to reduce stress, for example, by going to sports or finding a way where I can reduce that. But this depends on the individual person. As a team leader, I would say at the beginning, you really need to take the time to get your team members, to know your team members, to feel them. So we have the word empathy. Yeah. It takes time, and many team leaders I know have been saying, or what I have heard already, yeah, but I'm not the entertainer of the team. No, this is not the point. But when you want to have a good communication, first of all, you need to live the good communication. Yeah. And there is a wonderful sentence: you can only lead a team when you can lead yourself.
Yes.
And this is often forgotten. And when you cannot lead yourself, how do you want to lead a team? I mean, it's the same as those sentences we have maybe often heard. You need to love yourself before you love others, or something like that. And to establish a good communication culture, take the time to get known to all of your people, because I remember that we were a multicultural team.
Yes.
And some other cultures, they were, from my point of view, they were reacting very aggressive, but it is the culture, and you need to know that.
Yeah.
And this is when it starts with the trust that you have this middle management, this middle manager who is really taking care and taking the time, and again, listening.
Yes.
And only with that, on the long term, it will not happen overnight. On the long term, the stress will reduce. Why that? Because you know your members, and you can easily see, okay, he or she is not saying good morning. Let's keep it really simple. Though she was saying all the time good morning, then you know, okay, she might have had an overload. And people who are running into a burnout, who are workaholics, when you ask them, how are you doing? They will always say, oh, I am good. Because here it comes to the productivity, and no one wants to be ashamed that he delivers less productivity. So in that case, it is easy to say, or better to say, hey, I see that you're not doing good. It seems the stress is increasing. What can we do? And this is how you establish an open communication culture. It takes time, and it really takes the effort to love people and to feel people.
Yeah. Feeling is very important, as you said, and you have to put yourself into that shoes. You feel that pain. Okay, what's going? Thank you so much, Sabine. It's a wonderful discussion with you, and it's an amazing topic, and it's a general problem all over the world. We face the problem how to communicate effectively in the same way. Whatever I want to say, the person understood us in the same way, because number of time we face the problem or the miscommunication. The last message which you want to give at the end of the topic and at the end of the episode.
Take the time and start to learn communication. It will make the life easier and relaxer. And be honest. I mean, there is nothing what can happen when you are not honest, or when you're dishonest. True. Put a little bit more awareness to communication.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Take care.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you so much. Goodbye. Thank you so much, everyone. Hope so you like this episode. It's all about communication. How can you improve your communication, and communication play a part in your growth and development. Thank you so much. Have a nice day in Allah Hafiz.